Do white people walk on eggshells when they're around black people? Yes, but I make sure they're not brown eggshells. I wouldn't make any assumptions. She could be trying too hard to be woke. She is trying to get everyone to like her. She's afraid to lose her job over possibly offending someone by using the wrong phrases and terminology. Or, it's a combo of all three. As it's a history class. When it comes racial issues, don't be afraid to ask her what she thinks. It's hard to say, but I think give her some time. It can be uncomfortable being the only white person in the room. Or one of a few, especially being the teacher. Also, her being the teacher, she is probably nervous about saying the wrong thing or being misinterpreted. And losing her job. Most of the time it's more comfortable to avoid the big racial, political issues. But since she is teaching history, she really has no choice. You may cringe once in a while. But give her a chance. I guess somewhat? You really can't help but acknowledge that they are black and that there is shit that could be taken the wrong way. Like I would have no problem making a reference to Family Matters Urkel to a white person because that show practically shaped my childhood. But if I were to say it to a black person, I could imagine them thinking like, stop pandering to me. Fucking idiot. So yeah, there's kind of a filter. Yes. If I say something wrong, it's racist. If I say the right thing, I'm sucking up. I grew up in California though. So most people aren't that sensitive. And most people who do say you're racist for taking part in those discussions are white people trying too hard to be PC. Usually I'm fine. Because I don't say racist things. It's pretty simple. She probably has good intentions. But I can see why she comes across weird. I'm an old white lady. I grew up with people from many different cultures. When I moved to the US, the blatant racism here was shocking to me. Because of our history. I'm German. When I was a kid, we strived to be accepting of all cultures and people of all colors. And sometimes we, especially the older generations, probably came across just like that teacher does. Change is hard, but necessary. Racism in all forms is, of course, wrong. I think many white people truly want to be better, do better, and want to show that they are better about it. And then, unfortunately, make an over-the-top effort which then comes across as insincere. So, yes, white people walk on eggshells around black people. Because they're afraid to say the wrong thing and don't know how to show you that they're not one of those people. Give us time. We'll get there. At least those of us who truly want change. Yes, a lot of woke white people do this. I think that a lot of white people do feel like they're walking on eggshells when it comes to topics surrounding race. Especially nowadays. A lot of them are told early on that there are certain ideas or topics that they can't talk about or truly have a say on. On top of that, there are people who react negatively or disregard white opinion whenever they present counterview points. White people are also kind of made to believe that people can't be racist towards white people because they're white. I've personally heard this before. A lot of them are scared to defend their own race or stand up for their race. Obviously, the topic of rights and equal treatment is kind of a different subject. But when it comes to talking about these things, I do think a lot of white people are scared to say the wrong thing. That's part of the reason you don't see white people supporting each other just because they're white, or banding together over white culture. Whereas other races very much do this. Obviously, in Western society, and America specifically, white people have not been a severely oppressed race in the same way black people have in the past. But yes, I think they're scared to say the wrong thing. And this is overcompensated for by white people coming out and speaking the way you talk about your teacher speaking, in an effort to show that they're a major ally. And that is very fake. I think most of the people that do that aren't even racist either. In today's world, whites are told not to talk about specific topics or that we have no say because we don't know how. It feels personally. I won't argue that part one bit honestly. I can't even imagine half of what minorities go through in their life. Keep everything mentioned above in mind. Okay? Now you have a white lady teaching Black history. I believe you replied this to someone else. Something white people are told not to talk about because they didn't know how it felt or how it still feels. If I had to guess, yes. Your teacher is walking on eggshells here. Because she's probably been told or heard the things mentioned above and she's worried about offending someone. As we all know, it's easy to do nowadays. And losing her job or being called a racist for not knowing enough about something but speaking on it or whatever the case might be here. If a teacher got fired over a mistake that got taken in a racist way, it's game over for their whole career in more case than you'd imagine. Your teacher could be a little scared too. Every race, at least from those who've been close enough to ask the question, feels a tad awkward or even threatened when they are insanely outnumbered by another race. While you might think it's cringe, I think she deserves a little bit of respect for trying. Maybe she is trying too hard to fit in, gain some trust, respect, or be accepted. But it could be way worse. What's cringe to you might be a lady desperately needing a job and afraid of offending someone and ruining years of schooling and hard work because the world has become so sensitive. To be clear, I'm not calling racism being sensitive either. I'm referring to genuine misunderstanding, lack of knowledge being twisted into something it's not, and then blown way out of proportion. In this instance, assuming positive intent, the teacher might be attempting to do her best to help create a sense of comfort among non-white students. It's become such a norm for people to be overly offended by everything. I feel like I am walking on eggshells in general. Constantly. I think I do more so when in public. I'm worried about doing something subconsciously racist or that looks subconsciously racist. Because I don't want to be racist, it's not my conscious belief. So for example, if I'm walking by a Black person on the street, and they happen to be wearing a hat that catches my eye, I am nervous they notice and think I am nervous because they're Black, so I purposefully think, I am gonna walk by a little closer to them so they know if I were subconsciously racist I'd move away, and then overcompensate by getting too close or something like that. Then I think it must be pretty narcissistic of me to assume this guy is thinking about what I am versus whatever they got going on. As for everyone is white, said by a white person, I've said that too. What it means to me is, I'm in an annoying sheltered echo chamber that makes me unable to understand, appreciate, and assimilate other people into my subconscious because I don't have people to build experiences within my brain with which to wash away the ignorance, which would make the differences so normal that those eggshell thoughts disappear. The most woke people tend to come from places where there are the fewest Black people. Look at the bastions like Portland, Oregon, Madison. They're whiter than Wonder Bread. People who interact with a lot of diverse people act normal. Because it's normal. My assumption is she means well. She's acting how she thinks she needs to act. It's hard to know someone's intentions. I can't speak for her, but for myself it's because I'm a little racist. I was born in a town with 0 non-white people. It's almost impossible not to be racist when born into it. Many people walk on eggshells because they are trying hard to be better. I don't want to be a racist. I don't want to say hurtful things. So I'll be extra careful when dealing with pox. But it's not a switch you can just turn off. You sometimes just have to give people the opportunity to improve. Give her some time. It's probably not easy being a teacher. In general, she's just trying to build rapport. I see it all the time. I definitely am. Everything is offensive nowadays, to one group or another face with rolling eyes. Honestly, it's a game no one can win. Point out obvious cultural differences. Racist. Show a preference for those that share your culture. Supremacist. Treat everyone equally. Insensitive and colorblind. Have a close group of black friends and start talking. Dressing and liking the same things as them. Appropriating black culture. Being conscious of racism's past and present. Fake and woke. I think the best way to navigate everybody's sensitivities is to just not be a dick. Let other people be themselves and let your kids play with everyone. Racism is learned behavior. She's trying too hard to prove that she's not racist. I do agree with her about not living where there's only white people though. The better the mix of people, the better the food.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.